Hey everyone, it is Melanie back with another heavy metallurgy review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the brand new Bell Witch album, Future Shadow Part 1, The Clandestine Gate. This came out on April 21st on Profound Lore Records. It is their fourth full-length album, comprised of a two-piece out of Seattle, and this is a very long album. It took me a while to get through this album, just going to be honest with you. It's over an hour long. It's an hour and 23 minutes is what I think it clocks in at. One song, and if you're not familiar, this is essentially a three-piece trilogy that they're putting out. This is the first part, and then the other two parts will be coming out later on. No dates have been announced for that yet. So we've got a themed type album here. Bell Witch is a death doom band, if you're not familiar, mostly funeral death doom, and they're incredible. They do a lot of incredible stuff. Their past discography is phenomenal, and if you're really into the funeral death doom type of music, you'll obviously love them, and you probably, if you're watching this review, you know who Bell Witch are. So it took me a while to get through this album, just going to be honest with you. It is a listen that requires a lot of patience. It's not something that you can just put on while you're going to the gym, walking your dog, doing the dishes, or anything like that. You really have to focus when you're listening to this album. So essentially, it's a mood album. The first 6 minutes of the song is simply just organs. It's beautiful. It's really nicely written. But it takes a bit for this song to have a little bit more variance in it. And I feel like within those first 6 minutes, if you're not patient enough, you're going to turn this off and just not listen to it. And I will admit, I did that several times when I first heard this. I just really had to be in the mood for it. So I finally sat down, turned off my phone, didn't look at my laptop, put it on, and just listened to the whole entire thing beginning to end, and only focused on this and paid attention to different variances of what was happening in the background. And I really enjoyed the experience. This album is an experience. It's not something that you would listen to every single day. It's not something that you would say, hey, I'm going to pop this on in the car and listen to it while I'm going to work. And if you do, that's great. But for me, this album is not something that I would play every single day. But that does not mean I don't like it. I do think that it's a very well written album. And the fact that there are two other parts coming out makes me really curious to know what the rest of this is going to sound like and how it's going to sound like together. So, like I said, the first 6 minutes of the song were just organs, and then around 8 minutes it starts to pick up with some more distorted guitars and drums. The guitars are very howling and weeping throughout this whole entire song. Very doomy-esque types of howling guitars, very creepy and eerie. The whole entire album has got that really dark atmosphere. Within 11 minutes, we start to have these vocals that are very distant in the mix. They're not the most prominent thing that you're listening to at this time. It sounds like church music vocals, so a chorus at this point. It's not any type of like lead style of vocals or anything like that. It's almost, you really have to pay attention here. It's kind of like a chanting chorus that you would hear in a church. From there, within 24 minutes of the album, 24 minutes of the song, we start to get some bass line. It's a very creepy, slow bass line. It sounds phenomenal, though. I absolutely love the way it sounds. It reminds me a little bit of some other types of like Tool bass lines, but it's not that fast. Just the tone of the bass reminds me of Justin Chancellor of Tool. But don't worry, it doesn't sound like Tool, just the tone of the bass. This goes on for several minutes, just this bass line. And then finally, within 28 minutes, it goes into more of an ambience. The bass is still there in the background. And then the creepy guitars start to sound up again. So you're essentially going into a journey with this album. It's very slow paced. There's not a lot of build up in the very beginning. 28 minutes in, and there's really not a whole lot has happened in terms of pace. It's just been the same tempo, a lot of ambience, a lot of creepy guitars and bass, and very dark and eerie atmosphere. Within 31 minutes, you start to get more vocals. It's a little bit more of like talking style of vocals. It's hard to know what they're saying. I'd be interested to know what these lyrics are, just to understand the overall theme of the song. So I'll be looking for those. Hopefully, when I get the physical copy of this, which does not ship until June, by the way, I'm hoping those lyrics will be in there to understand like what they're saying at this part. Really what starts to pick up for me for this song is 40 minutes in. This is when I really started to really click with me, and when I started to really, really get into it and just felt like I was within this atmosphere of the music. There's these cavernous doom style vocals that start within 40 minutes in the song. They're very evil, low, doomy growls, and I absolutely I love it. And I wish they would be more throughout this song. They're very not prevalent within the song. Like I said, 40 minutes in, they finally start. There's a weeping, distorted guitar over this section of the song with the vocals. And it's just a really crushing part of the song that starts. And this was what really sucked me in. As a Doom fan, a Death Doom fan, this was pristine Death Doom at its finest 40 minutes into the song. Halfway through now, we're approaching the halfway mark. More of the chorals type vocals start again. And honestly, it's a beautiful part of the song. These chorus style vocals, they're beautiful, and they go really well with the music, and it really makes me feel like within this atmosphere, within this song, you're almost at a funeral, and that's what I felt like. I really kind of got those emotions going throughout me, because sadly I've been to a lot of funerals in my life, and this made me really feel like the story is life and death, and this is death. That's what this song ultimately made me feel like. But it isn't until about 60 minutes in where we start to get more of a guitar riff, more of a guitar line going, more variance. It's not fast by any means, but it is a prominent guitar line, a little bit more cleaner style of guitar sound. But it, like I said, it's a faster pace than what you've been hearing with these guitars within the song. This only lasts for about a minute, and then it fades into more ambience, and then the organs start back up again. So we're back to kind of what feels like the beginning of the song again. And there's still 23 minutes left at this point. And I would say at this point, when the ambience goes off and it fades up, the song builds up again. And the last 20 minutes of this song is the absolute best. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. I got goosebumps as soon as this started to pick up. And to be honest with you, I kind of wish the whole song may have been like this. But, it was an epic build-up that came to it. And when I say epic, I don't mean like this huge, grandiose sound, fast-paced, trugging riffs. Not by any means. It's just, it's more of those death metal growls, the very low, sinister growls with more of the powerful guitars and the bass line and the drums. Like the whole sound comes together the last 20 minutes of this album. Organs back. It's very ominous. It's essentially, for me, the best part of this song. It really creates this journey, and you feel like it's coming to an end, at least for this part of the journey. And then it fades out with more ambience again, the organs back. It's essentially the beginning of a song style again. And then it just fades out, and you hear church bells, and the song is over. I tried to describe that as best as possible to let you understand what this is. It is a journey. Like I said, it's a dedicated listen. You really have to pay attention to what's going on. For me, this is not something that I would listen to normally in a car. Having headphones on definitely helped. I was able to hear everything that's going on within the atmosphere. But in general, it's a very, very good song. But again, not something I would listen to every day. It took me several listens to get through this, just gonna be honest with you. That's probably my only critique of this, my criticism of this song, is that it was a very slow build into this song. It took a while. Like, first 6 minutes, really nothing's happening, and there's the guitar, the organ, and then the guitars kind of start, and really you don't really start to get much of the variance or the blending of what's going on until like you're 24 minutes in. And that's a very patient listen. For somebody who doesn't really care much for ambient music or those types of albums, for me, I really had to tell myself, sit down, listen to this album, understand what's going on. So that's really all I have to say about it. Will I say this is album of the year or anything like that? I think that's for you to judge. This is a very subjective album. I think it's going to be very, good for Bell Witch fans. I think the Bell Witch fans will really enjoy this. I don't know if it'll create more new fans. I'm not too sure. Would I recommend this to a friend? Probably not. But that's not to say it's not a great album or song. Is it really an album if it's only one song? I guess we're going by runtime, it's an album. But all in all, I really enjoyed the experience. I might listen to it once a year. And I'm really excited to see what's going to happen with the other two parts of this series. That's all that I had today. Let me know what you think in the comments. Have you heard this yet? Are you a Bell Witch fan? I would say the one thing that I want to call out is do not hold this up to Mirror Reaper. It is definitely its own journey. Do not compare the two whatsoever. Give this a chance if you're a Bell Witch fan. I think you'll enjoy it. And again, I'm really excited to see what this band does for their other parts of the series. That's all that I had. Thank you guys, and I will see you in the next one.